Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, I'm going to put together a little odds and ends video for you this week, but this one's going to be a little bit different. I don't think I'm going to have any viewer mail in here at all. Basically just want to give some updates on some things that we've talked about in some previous videos, as well as just some things going around here in the shop. And to start out with, let's talk about these straight edges down here. So I did a video last week where I was showing some horizontal milling on these straight edges, and I mentioned in there that I had a few extra castings, and if anybody was interested in those, to contact me. Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I was very much overwhelmed with the response that came from that. I only had a couple of extras here, and I really just did not anticipate that so many of you guys would like to get some of these to use in your own shop. And while I said in the video before that I really wasn't interested in getting into the straight edge business, and honestly I'm really not that interested in trying to keep a product and selling it and all that, because there were so many people who were interested, I am going to investigate possibly doing a one-time batch order of these things and getting them out to some people that might want to get them. So again, I'm not looking to keep these things in stock and trying to make this a long-term deal, and I'm not quite honestly looking to make a whole lot of money off of it. I just, you know, there's some people that want them. I'd like to, you know, make them available to those folks. So here's the deal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to need a little bit of time to do a little bit of research. I know what my costs were on the ones that I had done that were done at Cattail Foundry. Because of the numbers that it's kind of looking like we may be trying to get done, you know, more than just a handful. I don't really know how many. I know from just people who sent me emails who said they were interested, you know, I probably heard from about 50 or 60 people altogether, which again surprises me. And I'm sure there were some other people that may be interested that didn't send me an email. So, again, I want to do some research. I want to contact and talk to a couple of the foundries that are a little bit more local to me, mainly to help save on shipping, so I don't have to ship all this cast iron over a long distance. If there's someplace I could just go pick them up, that would save. Actually, the cost in these castings, by the time I ship them from the foundry to myself and then I ship them from myself back out to you guys, the shipping cost adds up to a big portion of what you're paying for. So if I can find a local foundry to do that, you know, I can at least save a little bit of money for everybody involved. So again, give me a little bit of time and we're going to see about possibly doing that. Again, if you're interested, I'll be doing a follow-up video on this down the road and probably put it up where you can just order them online. I'll also mention that I think I'm going to have another size of these that I'm going to be offering. Let me grab my pattern. So a while back I had drawn up, or actually my buddy Charles Marlin drew up a 12-inch straight edge, kind of using the same pattern as, or same design as the 6-inch and the 9-inch model. And I didn't have this in hand when I was doing my first straight edge video, but I've since gotten this back. This is my pattern that I'm working with. And again, I want to thank Charles Marlin for doing the design work on this. The guy's just a guru when it comes to drawing this stuff up in the computer. And then Tim Springer, who's one of my YouTube viewers, he actually helped me print some patterns before using his 3D printer. He was kind enough to actually print up another pattern. Now I'm still working on this one. It's going to be a split pattern just like the other ones, and it's not quite ready to go to the foundry yet, but anyway, I think I'm going to also give the option, and many people might be more interested in this little bit larger one, a 12-inch version of this as well. I'm probably not going to make any more larger sizes than that. It's just not really practical. These two sizes here really, at least that I have found, are not available in a camelback design. A 12-inch one you can find castings for. I know Richard King even has patterns for 12-inch that he sells. But I really wanted to kind of get one in the design that I got here. I really just, to me, I like this design better. So anyway, that's the game plan on the straight edges. But bear with me a week or two if I can get everything worked out. At this point, I don't want to make any promises that I'm even going to do this, but I am going to investigate, and if it looks like we can do it and do it for a decent price, we may be offering some of these straight edges where people can buy them. more details to follow. Next thing I want to mention are a couple of dates. I had mentioned this in earlier odds and ends video, and just want to kind of follow back up on these. 2 dates coming up that I want to make you aware of. First is April 7th. We'll be having the annual Folklife Festival out at the Georgia Museum of Agriculture here in Tifton, Georgia. It's a big event we do every year. I'm going to be out there. Looks like I'm going to probably be running the steam engine over at the sawmill. At least that's where it looks like I'm going to be at right now. It's a great day. I get a lot of people ask me, you know, hey, when is a good time to come to the museum? When can I come and see things that's going on that I see in some of your videos? There's a lot of stuff out there that I have not featured at all in any of my videos. But Folklife Festival is by far the big event that they do at the museum every year. It's all hands on deck, a lot of hands-on demonstrations and so forth going on that day. And it's really worth making a trip down. So if you've ever had a desire to come and see the museum, the Georgia Museum of Agriculture, I highly recommend, if you can, any way possible, you know, try to come down on April 7th of 2018 for the Folklife Festival. And again, I'll be out there, so if you come by, you know, come down to the sawmill. Probably, I may be up at the cotton gin, but probably at the sawmill, and drag me aside, say hello, what have you. I'd love to always get a chance to meet folks face to face. So try to make that if you can. Then the next Saturday, we're going to try to do another work weekend here in my shop and get my ceiling finished back there in the back. That is the game plan there. I need about 5 or 6 more hours of some good help, and we should have the ceiling done, and we can make more progress in getting the back side of the shop here where it will be usable. So just like we've done in the past, we'll probably get started about 8 o'clock that morning and work on up through the afternoon until we get done. And I do not anticipate this one lasting all day long. I'm guessing probably 5 or 6 hours of actual work time, and we should be able to knock that out, assuming that we have a good crew that can come in here and help. So if you're available on the 14th and want to come help out the shop, we would love to have you for that as well. So if you're interested in coming on the 14th, shoot me an email down here below. Let me know so I can get a good head count and kind of have an idea of who will be coming to help out. And I'm hoping that we can get that, again, knocked out. I'm actually getting ready to start doing some work, getting ready to start putting some wall material up, kind of like I have in here. I've got to probably be working on some of that over the next week or two. May even get a little bit put up before the 14th. I don't know. I can do that. If I have to, I can do the wall stuff by myself, although it's a lot easier if I have at least one person helping me. So maybe I can grab somebody here local to help me do some of that work between now and then. We'll see. But again, April 14th, let me know if you're interested in coming. I want to follow up on the air compressor. This was, again, a video we had a couple of weeks ago where I took this air compressor that was a gift to me from a viewer, and we took it apart and realized we had some major catastrophic failure to the pistons and piston rods in here. Again, I don't know exactly what went wrong on this. I can speculate, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. What matters is we got a big mess over here. Now, through a lot of you guys, you were able to send me parts manuals. You were able to get me some information on this. And I even was able to talk to a person that works for the company that has parts available for this air compressor head. And I talked to them about the possibility of getting new pistons, getting new rods, getting all the stuff that need to fix it. And guys, at the end of the day, to buy the parts to fix this thing, I'm going to be into this thing well over $1,000 just in parts, and probably closer to $1,200, $1,300 to buy new original parts. And for an air compressor that I really don't know the condition of some of the other stuff that may be going on in here, probably we want to go ahead and change the bearings and do a bunch of other stuff to it while I'm in there. Guys, it's just going to be too costly to really try to save this. Now, a lot of you guys in your comments were like, hey, just make a new piston rod. You're a machinist, you can do that, or make new pistons and what have you. Well, you're right, I could. Definitely could do that, and I have no doubt. I've actually made piston rods before, a long time ago. It's a doable thing to do. But at the end of the day, we're talking about a relatively new air compressor head that really isn't anything that valuable or special or rare or something like that. If this was, a rare air compressor that was made in the 1800s and we were trying to preserve it because it's an unusual example, put it out at the museum or something like that, yeah, I could see going to the time and trouble of doing that. But for just an air compressor for me to put outside the building here and pump air in the shop, by the time I buy materials and probably some tooling that I would need specific for this job, as well as the amount of time that would be involved in doing this, I'd be putting a whole lot of effort into an air compressor. So as bad as I hate to do it, I really have decided that the best thing for me to do is just scrap this thing and start over. So I actually have another air compressor head. I've had it before this one came along. It's packed up right now up in my other building up here. I'm gonna have to dig it out. It's actually even a bigger air compressor head. The issue that I've had with that one, it actually appears to be pumping, but I haven't been able to find a name or part numbers or anything like that on that air compressor. I'd really like to kind of go through it and just do a maintenance rebuild on it before I put it in service. I still need to figure out. I'm sure it's some commercial made, or maybe it could even possibly be a offshoot of a commercially made air compressor, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably put my effort into that other one. It's actually a larger head. It takes a little bit bigger motor. It's actually got a big tank that it's on. And really and truly, once that compressor there is done, I think it would be better than this one would have been anyway. This one here, I was hoping was just going to be a quick, easy fix to get an air compressor running in the shop, but obviously that's not going to be the case. So this one here, I'm about ready to just go ahead and get rid of this stuff. I've had a few people contact me, said they wanted some parts off of it. I know one person, haven't heard for sure, but said he might want the heads off of this. Another person was looking for potentially getting the flywheel off of it, which I don't even have out here right now. But if anybody has a need for any of these parts, if you got a similar head or the same head, and you might need, the cylinders look like they're in pretty good shape. This crankcase, it's got good parts on it for sure. Might be some salvageable pieces in here. If anybody needs this, shoot me an email, again, right down here, and we'll see what we can do. I'm not, I'll probably just give it to you for the price of shipping. I'm not interested in trying to sell it or anything like that. But if anybody wants these parts, let me know. If I don't hear from people in the next week or so, anything that's not spoken for is going to go in the scrap bin, and I need to just get it out of the shop and out of my way. So that's where we are on the air compressor. At some point in the near future, maybe we can get the other air compressor down here and see if we can figure out what it is and see if we can get some parts for it maybe. If nothing else, just do a quick, overhaul of the head just to make sure everything's good there. But I think it would probably, I can put a motor on it and probably run it right now, but I do want to take it apart and check it out before I do. So that'll be a project down the road, hopefully coming up before too much longer. Another little update here. I'm a little bit discouraged. I was using the surface grinder this weekend. Actually, I was planning on getting all the straight edges ground in this weekend. That was kind of my plans for my project on Saturday. I came over and started using the surface grinder. I got the tops ground, the very first step ground on a couple of the straight edges, and I switched my machine off to change setups, and when I switched it back on, it was not running the way it's supposed to. Basically, my spindle had quit working. It was making a terrible sound, and I'm not exactly sure. I spent a little bit of time trying to troubleshoot it, and I think that the issue has something to do with the motor or the drive pulley that powers everything. My problem right now is that I can't get to the back of this very well because this machine is up against the wall and the access panel's in the very back, and basically I was trying to be a contortionist back there trying to just get in there. So I'm going to have to figure out what's wrong with my surface grinder. Based on what I've seen so far, I don't think it's going to be a major repair. It's just going to be some kind of, I'm hoping it's going to be something fairly easy to fix. But until I can get in there and really diagnose the problem, I really just don't know what's going on. So I was very anxious to just get in here and start digging into this thing this weekend. The problem is, again, I'm going to have to move the machine to get it to where I can work on it. And this machine, it probably weighs, I'm guessing, around 3,000 or 4,000 pounds. And I can't handle it. I can't move it by myself. At least I can't get it jacked up on the floor. I can get a pallet jack under this thing and move it anywhere in the shop, no problem. I moved it around a bunch when we were getting things set up. The problem is it's sitting down on the floor right now, and I've got to get it jacked up high enough that we can get the pallet jack up underneath it, and that's a two-man job. It's not going to take a whole lot of time, but it is a two-person job. Basically, I've got a big pry bar that I can kind of wedge it up a little bit of time, but you need one person prying and one person putting shims up underneath it until you get it up high enough. So I'm hoping that this coming week I can get somebody to come over, help me for an hour or two, probably not even that long, and get this thing jacked up where I can potentially move it. Just on Saturday I was out here by myself and I didn't have anybody to help, so we're kind of where we're at. But this is probably going to have to be a project that I need to knock out pretty quick because I really need a surface grinder. For the straight edge project, I've also got some grinding I need to do on some parts for the LeBlanc lathe restoration, and this is an important machine that I need to do that. So I'm, again, a little discouraged that got some issues, but hopefully it's not going to be anything major. Probably will have a video coming of me tearing into this thing. This is pretty high on the priority list for me right now just because I need it for a couple of jobs. And it's kind of probably sneak in ahead of some of the other things that need to be done around here as well. So more to come on the surface grinder issues. So the other little thing that we've got that's come up that I know that I'm going to have to probably deal with pretty quickly is I got a call late last week from the museum, and there's a piece off the locomotive that messed up. Now they were able to kind of patch it together and get the locomotive running for the weekend. But I do need to make a part to go on the locomotive. It's actually going to be a repeat job. I've made this part before, but it was for the other side. I only made one of them, and now the other side, we've got some issues on the same part. So I know exactly what's got to be done. I'll probably go ahead and shoot a video. I think we did a video on that same part about 3 years ago, but we're going to be making another one of those parts again. That's going to be probably my top priority this week. And since I am going to be in town most of the week, I'll probably get out here and work on that some evenings and have a job coming up pretty soon showing you guys some machine work making a part for the steam locomotive. At least that's my hope and plan there. And with that, guys, that's just a wrap, just a quick update of a few things going on in the shop. I wanted to kind of just follow up on some things that we've talked about in the past, kind of let you know about some projects that we've got coming, some machine repairs that I really wasn't counting on having to do, but hey, you know, really haven't done anything to that surface grinder except clean it up, and it's been kind of plug and play. So I'm not too surprised that I'm going to have to go in there and do something to it. I've been kind of holding back from trying to do a complete restoration on that machine just because it's operational. But yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to see what's wrong with it, see what we get into. Hopefully it's going to be a fairly easy fix so we can get her back up and going pretty quickly. But that's going to be it for this episode. We'll see you guys later on. Hopefully have some machining content for you coming up here real soon. I'm a little bit bummed that I didn't get my video shot of me grinding all these straight edges, but hopefully we can get that surface grinder going where we can do that real quick as well. And with that, thanks guys for watching. We'll talk to you later.